Hi guys, this is Kayla.
And this is Becky, and we're with a couple of these read.
And we also like to make our book of the month predictions, and sometimes we get them right.
We did, because we ordered some of our selections.
Some of our selections this time.
And a lot of times we don't, but there you are.
So for March, here are our hopefuls.
Okay, everybody, if you are into books, you know Pattie, Callahan, Henry. Oh, yes. She is a lovely person. She is a talented writer. She's beautiful. And we had the pleasure of meeting her at the book signing at Ernest and Hadley when The Secret Book of Flora Lee came out. She was just lovely. And
Book of the Month carried that book.
Yes. And now I have 2 copies. So
yes,
we have the one from there and the one from Book of the Month. But her newest novel that's coming out is The Story She Left Behind. And this is based on a true literary mystery. It is the story about a lost mother and a daughter whose search kind of leads them both into interesting things. So that's all I'm going to say. Can't wait to get it. And on another note,
we're going to get to see her again.
On your birthday.
On my birthday.
On April 9th. We're going to Wetumpka to Sweet Home Books. And it's going to be fun, and we're excited about it.
I saw they were doing that, and I texted it to Becky, and I was like, my birthday, please.
Happy birthday, Kayla. And here we go. So, and that will come out on March the 18th. So,
yes. And are you doing the Saltwater?
Oh, I don't know. Maybe so. Okay, I think I am. Saltwater by Katy Hayes. She is the author of The Cloisters. And
which one of us have?
I think it's me.
It might be you.
Might be me. I think I have that, and I it's still on my to be read list. But my to be read list is like I have a bookshelf to be read, and I have 2 stacks of books behind me to be read.
This is why I'm confused as to whose it is, because I read it and it was really good.
Yeah, and I think it's mine. But
yeah, I should probably give that back to you.
We do. Yes, you probably should. So, I'm very particular about my books, by the way. I am. You do not dog ear my books. You don't do a lot of things to my books. But,
never done that.
And, one day when, well, we won't even get into that conspiracy theory.
Her new book, Saltwater,
let me get on, is based in 1992. Sarah Lingate, she's found dead on the cliffs of Capri. If you've never been to Capri, it's a beautiful thing, and that I can't chase that squirrel, but we talk about Italy and Tuscany and wine and chefs and travel and everything, so which reminded me of that. But anyway, leaving behind her 3-year-old daughter, Helen. The suspicious is that the Lingates were involved in Sarah's death. And but even though it was ruled an accident, and they're this very wealthy family, old money and everything, and then on the 30th anniversary of her death, they all come back. Every year they come back to remember her on the death of her anniversary of her death. And so, they come back on the 30th, and the necklace that she was wearing when she disappeared mysteriously appears at the villa. And so I hope they have this book, because it will definitely be one of my picks if it is. Now, you talked about this book.
So, all the other mothers hate me. Not true for me. I get along well with my kids' other mothers.
Yes.
But this is by Sarah Harman. And Florence Grimes is 31. And she, single, always takes the easy way out. She's a former girl band rock star kind of personality. Since her girl band kind of fell apart, she really doesn't have anything else to live for except for her 10-year-old son, Dylan, who she thinks is awesome. But then Alfie Risby, Dylan's bully, disappears.
I hate bullies.
Oh, we hate bullies. But Alfie Risby disappears. And her son Dylan is the prime suspect because Alfie has been bullying him all this time. So now Florence, who has no skills other than playing guitar, has to figure out what happened to Alfie in order to clear her son's name so her son isn't taken away from her. But the interesting thing is that maybe Dylan isn't as guiltless as he could be. It really reminded me of Defending Jacob, which was a book that definitely got me back into reading about, you know, a family that's suspicious their son might be a little bit of a murderer. So I'm interested to see how that goes. Again, that is The Other Mothers Hate Me by Sarah Harman. I think whether they take it or not, I'm gonna take it.
Now, I thought this was a book that you would like.
This is a book that I would like. This next one, When the Bones Sing by Ginny Myers Sain. Now, to my knowledge, Book of the Month hasn't carried her, but she is a New York Times bestselling author of The Dark and Shallow Lies. And this is a Southern Gothic supernatural thriller about a teen girl in a small town in Ozark. So this teen girl's name is Dovey, a 17-year-old Dovey, and everyone in her family, all the women in the family, has been able to hear bones sing to them. And in this small town she moves in, there's been a lot of disappearances, and suddenly Dovey is here and she's leading the police to the bones because she can hear them sing to her. She makes friends with another character named Lo, who keeps telling her, these shadows are following me, the shadows are following me, something's going on, these shadows are following me. And Dovey's just like, okay, you might be a little cray-cray. The only thing I believe in is that the bones do sing to me.
Okay, bones sing, but the other kid is...
Yeah, like, I'm sure it's more low-key than that. This is me putting in my own words. But Dovey doesn't really know what to do with Lo.
Yeah.
And she's too busy leading the sheriff and everyone to these bones. And they're investigating because now they've gone from disappearances to murders. And meanwhile, Lo is realizing that the shadows following Lo are the ghosts of the people who disappeared. So you've got these two characters whose stories begin to intertwine. One who can hear the bones sing, and one who can see the shadows of the dead. So
that is a book that I might have to get. If you get it, we'll
arm wrestle.
maybe we'll read it together.
And again, that's When the Bones Sing by Ginny Myers Sain.
Yeah, that one sounds really,
Super
really
juicy.
good. Yeah. First Wife's Shadow. Okay, this is kind of the, husband and wife. Man loves the first wife. She's, she is it and everything, and then she passes away. It is a psychological crime thriller, but his wife dies, and now guess what? There's a vacancy for a new wife. I don't know. That's a strange way to look at it, isn't it? And then Emma comes along, and she meets Matthew, and he's kind, and he's sweet, he's handsome, and she just kind of falls head over heels in love. But then she's like, I just don't know. Am I ever going to be able to be number one because he loved this woman so much, and then she passed away? Am I always going to be, number two? How do you compete with a ghost? How do you compete with that? And her friends and her family are like, hey, you need to back up and stop because Emma's wealthy. Matthew has nothing. And they're not sure Matthew is all that he's cracked up to be. So, we got a lot of... We've seen this type of plot in several other kind of movies, TV shows, books, and things. But, this... kind of may have a twist or something, so we have to look at it and see. It sounds very interesting. My First Wife's Shadow by Adele Parks.
It made me think of, and I know I'm like throwing it way back, but Jane Eyre. Because that first wife is in the attic. Yeah. He's all like, she ain't here, but she's there. Now, I hope I didn't just...
Okay, and I'm going to throw something out here that... you're gonna go, Becky, why in the world are you saying this? I'm looking at the cover. The cover's very eerie, kind of, and the house they have on here and everything reminds me of the house in Twilight that's the Cullens with the woods in the back and all
it's
of
very
that.
like that modern
Very
architecture,
modern architect.
like very sleek.
So
So,
I know
someone
that's
could
like
definitely get
chasing
murdered
another
there.
squirrel, but there you are.
There are too many sharp corners in that house, and they could get murdered there. So
Yes,
next is Wild Dark Shore, and Becky found the books this week, and oh my gosh,
Yes.
so this is by Charlotte McConaghy.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I pronounced that wrong or correctly. I'm sorry. This is my second glass of wine, guys, and I'm a lightweight. So, a family on a remote island, a mysterious woman washed ashore, a rising storm on the horizon. So, Dominic Salt and his 3 children live on this island called Shearwater. And it's so tiny. It's not far from Antarctica, but as we all know, oceans are rising. That island is beginning to disappear. Now, they have been there in charge of the nature reserve, in charge of the seeds that only grow there. And his kids, like, he's got one that's 18, one that's 17, one that I think is 15. So, they're older. Oh, I'm sorry, 18, 17, and 9. So the two of them are
and
much
the
older.
9-year-old is the one that's into the nature aspect of everything.
And the 9-year-old is very much into nature, and the older 2 are kind of like, we want to get out of here, as teenagers do. But Dominic has these 3 children trying to survive on the island. They're kind of getting ready to move because they realize the island is slowly disappearing. But then storm season hits, and this woman named Rowan washes up on shore. And somehow, miraculously, they're able to get her in, help her heal, and not only heal her physically, but start to heal her heart. And she starts to open up to this family, and they finally start to feel like their family is whole again. Yay. But at the same time, Rowan is not being completely forthright with why she was coming to Seawater or what's going on there. And then she starts to find shallow graves dug by Dominic Salt and realizes that maybe Dominic and his family aren't really on the up and up either. And there's so many layers to this. Becky sent this to me to read, and I was just like, whoa, this is a lot. And I'm so pumped for it. Yeah. So, again, that is Wild Dark Shore by Charlotte McConaghy. She is apparently a New York Times bestselling author. I have not read any of her work, but if all of it is this, winding and insane, and I need to read more.
Yeah, we definitely need to look her. I hope they carry that one because I think it's going to be outstanding.
Yes.
Okay. And then this is our last prediction. It's called Promise Me Sunshine. And it says, how do you find yourself after you lose the one that you have loved the most in the world? Okay. There you go.
iPads are hard.
They're great technology, so they don't work.
Cara Bastone.
She wrote Ready or Not. So this young woman, she's grieving the loss of her best friend, and it's kind of her whole life is turned upside down, and she meets this very grumpy stranger who swears that he can help her get out of this, grief-ridden state that she's in. And she's just not sure about all of this. And as they come together, they have these different things. She's a single mom. She's got, again, the single mom with these, this precious daughter, and who's a little bit, they say precocious. We know we have a precocious one, quite, and we know what that means.
That word encapsulates a lot.
It does. And so anyway, they come together, and Miles sees just right through the whole thing. She's supposed, I'm making it, everything's good, and he's like, no, let me help you. And anyway, it turns out, it's going to be a love story. Surprised to discover that sometimes losing everything is just the first step to moving forward and loving again. And because neither one of them are really interested in that at this time. So again, another, I wouldn't call it a rom-com, but it is a romance. So
yeah, it reminds me of several of the authors they've carried in the past.
Yes.
I feel like when Book of the Month chooses a romance, there's always more depth to it than your typical, we just plucked this off the rom-com
it's
shelf.
not just a light read. It's got some undertones going on in there. So those are our predictions this month. What are your predictions, and what do you hope?
Before we go to that, this is always our most popular post, so I'm going to plug my book. It is not a Book of the Month pick for March, because
maybe it will be for June.
Oh, fingers crossed. But Chase Harlem, a mystery series involving a PI named Chase Harlem, who is a former FBI agent. She said, I'm going to not investigate violent crime, and then a priest shows up on her doorstep in New Orleans and says, I need you to solve this murder. And she can't turn down a mission from God. So
that's right.
She's fun, she's spunky, and I've been getting in reviews from some of my favorite authors, including Terry Perlato. And my book is being compared to her work as well. So if you're a Terry Perlato fan or Kate Alice Marshall, that's what my book is being compared to.
Yeah, Book of the Month author.
Book of the Month author, Kate Alice Marshall. That's what my book is being compared to. Yeah. Apparently. So
by Simon & Schuster.
By Simon & Schuster. So, yes, Chase Harlem's coming out. The pre-orders are up. I'm going to put a link here. If you are at all interested in it, please understand that pre-orders really help debut authors, and I would love for you to give it a read, give it a review, and let me know what you think.
It's on NetGalley?
It is on NetGalley now.
If you are a bookstagrammer or a reviewer, please try to get a copy of that. And
I actually just got my first NetGalley review in, and it made me cry. It was so sweet.
Oh, awesome.
And I was thrilled. Even if you send me a NetGalley review that makes me cry for other reasons, I will appreciate it.
I'll just know her mother-in-law won't appreciate it.
But Chase Harlem, putting it right here, it is not a prediction because it's not even coming out in March.
It comes out in June.
I hope you'll consider it. Bye, guys.